Maknae, who was once known as a shy and perfectionist, is now a figure who rules the American music industry, a territory that used to be so difficult for even big Asian idols to penetrate. This is not an ordinary story about popularity. It's a narrative about transformation, about strategy, about soundless hard work that changed the course of world music history. The world knows Jungkook no longer just as a member of BTS, but as a global force, an undeniable force that shapes, trends, sets the direction of the industry, and makes American labels vying for his hand. But the journey to this point is not instant. There are behind-the-scenes moments that no camera has ever seen. From early morning vocal rehearsals in Seoul, recordings in a Los Angeles studio that lasted into the morning, to secret meetings between major American producers arguing loudly about how to best market Jungkook. Due to the fact that BTS went on hiatus for military service, many in the global industry speculated that their prestige would fade. But precisely at that moment, Jungkook rose not as a replacement for BTS, but as a representation of a new era, the era of individual dominance. One by one, the major American media began to write about him. Billboard called it the future blueprint of Asian artistry. Rolling Stone wrote of the title, "Jungkook's voice doesn't just fill arenas, it fills the cultural gap." And behind that headline, HYBE quietly stared at the rising revenue chart with a bit of bewilderment. How can Jungkook grow faster than their own corporate plans? It's not just about viral songs. It is about a cross-cultural phenomenon, about how Jungkook managed to conquer the American music system, which was so far closed to non-Western musicians. But of course, all this did not come without a long struggle and bold decisions. On the way to that summit, there are many surprising things, and some have never even been revealed to the public. So tonight, let's walk through the story, from the dark studio in Seoul to the grand stage in Madison Square Garden. This is the extraordinary journey of a young boy who even made HYBE his own agency, dazzled by the greatness they did not expect. Not many people know that long before the world saw Seven explode on the Billboard charts, Jungkook had long been preparing for a shift in his career to a more global direction. While BTS was still actively touring the world, Jungkook secretly began learning an American accent, spending time with a vocal coach in Los Angeles, who had also worked for singers like Justin Bieber and The Weeknd. Those around Jungkook refer to the period as a silent but dangerous era, because although he rarely appeared in public, his every move was carefully orchestrated like a pawn moving towards a checkmate on the World Music Industry Board. In 2022, prior to his official solo release, Jungkook began being active in an international network of producers. He attended secret recording sessions at Sunset Sound, one of California's most legendary studios ever used by Prince and the Rolling Stones. This is where the turning point happened. The producers, who were initially skeptical, feeling Jungkook was just a K-pop product, fell silent after hearing his raw vocals. The sound is pure, not artificial, and has a natural Western breath. They begin to realize it's no longer about genre or language, it's about presence. Jungkook brings something that even American artists rarely have: a blend of Asian discipline and global musical instinct. This is where America's doors opened wide. It's not just about collaboration, it's about being part of the ecosystem. No wonder when Seven was released, the song wasn't just a hit in the K-pop fandom, but penetrated mainstream radio, playing alongside names like Dua Lipa, Post Malone, and Olivia Rodrigo. The journey from Seoul to Los Angeles isn't just a geographical journey, it's a metamorphosis of identity. HYBE herself initially did not expect that her solo project would be this big. But every time streaming data comes in, the graph shows the undeniable. Jungkook is changing the face of the industry. It's not just accepted, it's absorbed into the American system. And from here, that wave of domination began. When Seven reached Haseon on the Billboard Hot 100, HYBE reacted with pride mixed with surprise. They certainly support Jungkook's success, but few know that it was largely orchestrated by a small international team working outside HYBE's official structure. The team was led by an independent music manager who had worked in New York and had strong networks with American labels such as Columbia and RCA. They decide on digital release strategies, set release times that match American primetime, and approach local media such as Spotify Studios and iHeartRadio. Their strategy differs greatly from the usual K-pop promotion pattern. No countdown on Weverse, no long teaser. Jungkook appears live with impeccable, quality-like, and established American artist. That's what surprised HYBE. How this non-K-pop pattern is actually more successful in penetrating the global market. Even after that, the decision to remix the explicit version of Seven, something that used to be very taboo for Korean idols, turned out to be an ace. The American public loves it because it feels authentic, not made up. When HYBE finally analyzed the data from Spotify and Billboard, they realized one thing. Jungkook wasn't just adaptive to the global system, he conquered it. He understands timings, understands sonic trends, and more importantly, he knows when to silence the hype and when to bring it up. HYBE, who has been in full control of the direction of her artist career, must now learn from Jungkook's own strategy. And this is where that unique dynamic arises. The artist, who was once considered the product, is now the architect of the new system, a subtle but monumental shift in power. When Jungkook appeared on the Madison Square Garden stage, many did not realize how symbolic the moment was. Once, the stage was a sacred space for American legends Michael Jackson, Prince, Madonna. Now, a singer from Busan was standing there, and the American audience sang each of his lyrics without pause. It's not just a concert, it's a declaration. Billboard noted that within a year, Jungkook was the only Asian artist to occupy the top 10 global artist chart consistently for more than 30 weeks. He also became the first Korean artist to perform at the Global Citizen Festival in New York with a headline slot. But behind it all, there's one thing that's left industry players baffled. The way Jungkook builds an emotional connection with Western audiences without losing his Korean identity. On stage, he wasn't trying to be American, he was being himself. He spoke honestly, laughed nervously, and expressed gratitude in a simple way. It is precisely this authenticity that makes him different from many other international artists who try too hard. Many American labels began to study this phenomenon, looking for the Jungkook formula. But there is no formula. There are years of practice, discipline without a camera, and a strong personal vision. And for an American music industry often dominated by instant imagery, Jungkook's presence brings something missing: craftsmanship. At HYBE headquarters in Yongsan, report after report came from the international division. Jungkook's streaming numbers in the US didn't stop rising even after the official promotion ended. Major sponsors such as Calvin Klein, Apple Music, and Spotify made exclusive offers just for her. This is beyond expectations. Even HYBE's internal team began to feel that Jungkook was no longer just their artist. He was already an independent global brand. In a closed-door meeting leaked to Korean media, one of HYBE's executives was quoted as saying, "We created a superstar, but he grew into a worldwide icon faster than the system we set up. The sentence describes confusion and admiration at once. They did not expect that Jungkook's dominance would change the way the industry viewed Asian artists. Now, American labels are no longer looking for K-pop artists, but next Jungkook. The domino effect is incredible. From media, fashion, to digital trends, Jungkook's name is a new parameter of global success. Even labels such as Universal and Warner began to study its distribution strategy to apply to other artists. And HYBE? They are no longer Jungkook's owners, but partners of forces greater than themselves. Ironically, this is the result of the success they helped create, and now they can't control it completely. Now, when we talk about Jungkook's dominance in America, it's not just about numbers or awards. It's about representation, about how one individual can shift the paradigm of an industry that for decades shut itself off from non-Western artists. Even the great HYBE has to admit, Jungkook has become an entity on its own, not a product, but a pioneer. He pointed out that the globalization of music does not mean losing identity, but expanding it. From Seoul to New York, from the BTS stage to the world stage, Jungkook's journey is a living proof that talent, hard work, and the courage to be different can break through boundaries that have been considered impossible. Now, the American music industry is no longer a foreign land for him. He had already planted his flag there, and the world realized one thing. Even HYBE never expected. Jungkook would rule America so soon. If you think Jungkook's success in America is just a matter of numbers on the charts, you're wrong. The Western world, especially America, has a long history of determining who deserves to be a global star. Their system is harsh, conservative, and full of hidden biases. But somehow, Jungkook manages to penetrate it in a way that even industry analysts can't explain. At first, many doubted. Some music critics in Los Angeles openly said, K-pop will not survive on American radio. But they forget, Jungkook is not just a K-pop artist. He came not with a Korean formula, but a universal soul that anyone can accept. And he proved it not by theory, but by action. When Standing Next to You was released, it not only broke the charts, but became a live phenomenon on every American music show. His appearance on The Tonight Show became a moment that is still viral today, not because of sensation, but because of authenticity. Jimmy Fallon himself praised her, not as an overseas guest, but as a real performer. Just look at the way Jungkook rules the stage. No gimmicks, no typical K-pop boy band gimmicks. Only he, the microphone, and full control over the energy of the audience. It bridges cultures through honest expression, and this made America fall in love. Major media outlets like Rolling Stone even called him the most American Korean artist, not because he transformed himself, but because he managed to understand the core values of American pop culture, individualism, and authenticity. As many Asian artists try to conform to Western standards, Jungkook stands up confidently, saying through his actions, "I don't need to be like you to be accepted." The United States accepted. From there, a big shift began. The Western world, once skeptical of non-native artists, is now setting Jungkook as the new standard. It's no longer about skin color, language, or national origin. It's about quality, hard work, and character. HYBE herself could not believe it when a Nielsen music research report showed that 68% of American listeners who streamed Jungkook's songs were not fans of K-pop before. That is, he is no longer a niche artist, but a mainstream act. The Western world gave up, but not because it lost, but because it fell in love. There is one interesting part that is rarely known to the public. When Jungkook began to focus on America, he did a number of collaborations without the long bureaucratic process of HYBE. He immediately contacted several American artists whom he personally admired without a PR team, without an official proposal. One of them was his meeting with Charlie Puth, who later produced the song Left and Right. But that's just the beginning. After the collaboration was a success, Jungkook got direct access to the world's top producer network. Andrew Watt, Benny Blanco, to Max Martin, the guys behind The Weeknd, and Ariana Grande's big hits. In the world of music, such a connection is currency, and Jungkook knows how to use it smartly. While HYBE was still busy crafting other artists' globalization plans, Jungkook was already building a personal bridge with the American music ecosystem. He recorded demos, discussed the tone, and even helped determine the direction of the arrangement. Here's what amazed many American producers. He's not just singing, he's producing. HYBE herself can finally just go with the flow. They realize that Jungkook is writing history in his own way. Even some of his music projects in the US are confirmed to be not entirely arranged by Korean management, but the result of direct decisions between Jungkook and international distribution labels. This is crazy, because it means he changed the control structure of the industry that has been so hierarchical. And what is even more surprising, the result is amazing. The songs that Jungkook chose himself actually achieved the highest global performance in the history of Korean solo artists. He proved that individual creativity can go beyond the limits of the system. And this is a valuable lesson not just for HYBE, but for the entire Asian entertainment industry. Now, many agencies are beginning to change their approach, giving artists greater room to negotiate directly, as Jungkook has already shown. With trust, the results can shake the world. If there's one word that describes Jungkook, it's obsessive. But not in a negative sense. He has an uncanny habit of making sure every detail is perfect, from the tiniest notes in a recording, to the lighting on stage, to the scent of the room before a performance. Many people don't know Jungkook often double-checks the mixing of songs up to 30 times before being approved. Even the producer once said, he knows that 1 second sounds weird. But more interestingly, he not only pursues technical perfection, but also emotional. He always asked, will people feel something from this song? In an industrial world that is busy chasing trends and virality, Jungkook still believes that music is emotional communication. That's why every performance feels alive, not mechanical. When performing at the Global Citizen Festival, for example, he refused total lip sync when almost all the major artists on the show did. The reason is simple. If I sing for the world, I have to really sing. This kind of attitude makes many American artists respect him. Post Malone once called him the most disciplined performer I've seen. HYBE even had some hassles because Jungkook often extended training sessions without a schedule. But that's how it works. It lives for the music. This perfectionism is also the reason why he rarely fails. He never lets go of something until he is sure it is ready. And perhaps because of that, every step of his career has always felt monumental. There is no half-baked phase in Jungkook's life. Everything matures with pressure, dedication, and an unassuming love for art.